Welcome to Getting Hands-On with Generative AI. This session is designed for beginners and those who may have had some experience with ChatGPT or other similar tools, but may not have had a chance to be formally trained on generative AI. In this session, we will learn about the generative AI is and how it works, and we will learn about prompt engineering, which is really the best thing that we can learn about how to use AI and spend most of the time in participating, building prompts, and asking questions to ChatGPT. That's what we're going to do today. So, in the first session that we had conducted, we had talked about what are the different types of AI solutions that we have. So, there are 5 different types of AI. So first types of AI solutions are called narrow AI solutions. They are designed to perform very specific tasks, right? So we have all heard of Siri and Alexa. So those are the examples of narrow AI. Then we have robotics. These are the machines or systems that can physically interact with the world. They can still perform very specific tasks. We have all seen the factory robots, right? These are the robots that have no heads, they just have arms and the screw, for example, like a car door and stuff like that. Then there's a company called Boston Dynamics, and they have introduced a couple of robots. So you have Spot, the robot dog, or there are a number of machine soldiers. Then there's a generative AI, which is a session today. Generative AI is the type of AI solutions that create new content for us, such as text, images, videos, audios, and computer code. We have heard about ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot. Then there's the super AI, or what we call the artificial superintelligence, a future AI that surpasses human intelligence. And today it's really theoretical and it's fictional, like the AI, for example, like the AI voice in the movie Her, or my favorite, which is The Bicentennial Man by late Robin Williams. The last one is essentially the general AI, or what we call the artificial general intelligence. It's a hypothetical situation that can pass any human cognitive test. This has not yet achieved, and there are some experts who believe that we are about 40 to 50 years away from having this. I think it might be longer. So, how do machines learn? There are really 5 ways that the AI machines or the smart robots, how do they learn? The first one called the supervised learning. It's, for example, like your email filters learn how to mark your emails spam by training on thousands of emails labeled as spam or not spam. Supervised learning requires a process called labeling of data. In many cases, humans are hired to label each and every data point: dog, cat, house, spam email, not spam email. Supervised learning, therefore, is the process of training AI computers using these massive amounts of data. So you can train a computer by showing it the pictures of millions of dogs, different kinds, and then labeling them dog, and then training them, and then asking them by providing them a completely new picture of a dog and see if it recognizes it. Then we have the unsupervised learning. So you have a program that groups shoppers into segments by finding patterns in their purchases without any labels. So it just watches them, categorize them, and learns them on their own. There's no need to label the data here. Then we have the reinforcement learning. For example, a robot learns to walk by getting rewards for moving forward and penalties for failing or falling down. Then we have the imitation learning. A self-driving system learns steering and braking by essentially copying actions from expert human driving recordings. Then you have rule-based systems. For example, a fraud checker flags any transaction, say over $10,000, from blocked countries using handwritten rules like if, then, else. Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that can create new content like text, images, the music, the code, or even movies or videos that looks a lot like that a human has made it. So why generative AI or AI not going to completely replace humans? Why is it not like human intelligence? Generative AI works by learning statistical patterns, not by thinking like humans. The models, or what we call large language models, the LLMs, are trained to predict the next token or the next pixel or the next soundbite from massive amounts of data set. So what looks like really understanding it, really high dimensional pattern matching, that's exactly what it is. It's just pattern matching. And statistically, what's the probability of the next pixel or the next soundbite or the next letter or the next word should be based on this massive amount of data? This can mimic the reasoning because our data really encodes the logic and facts, but the models have no goals, no grounding, no experience. It has no real world grounding. So it can never replace human thinking. That is why you will notice that if you ask ChatGPT same question multiple times, you will get different answer every time because it's just doing pattern matching and statistical analysis. So another term that you will hear a lot in the world of AI is hallucination in the context. An AI hallucination is when a model confidently gives you an output, a result, or information that isn't true or wasn't part of its resources, like making up facts, quotes, or citations. It happens because the model predicts the likely pattern rather than checking the reality. You can reduce the hallucination by giving it some trusted context, some documents, and verifying results. And that's what we learned in the session today, how to create really smart prompts. So, what can generative AI do? As I mentioned, that it can write emails, stories, poems, essays, social media posts. It can draw artwork and cartoons and photorealistic images. It can compose music and soundtracks for you. It can make videos for you, short clips to full-length AI generated movies. It can actually simulate a conversation. You can now have a conversation with ChatGPT as part of your prompt. Lastly, it can write computer programs based on intelligent input. How does the generative AI actually work? The three steps. Number one is training. It learns from tons of examples, like I said, like how a child learns by seeing and hearing, right? It takes massive amount of data, right? Millions of pictures of dogs, millions of pictures of cats. It watches them, tags them, really understands them. The next step is generating output, or what we call inference. You give it a prompt or a question, and it responds by creating something new that fits what you ask for. Okay. Number three, improve. It constantly improves through machine learning. The more it trained and used, the more feedback it gets, the more intelligent prompt it gets, the better it gets at producing useful and creative results. It's kind of like the trial and error and feedback. So, how to give instructions for a task, and it gives you back the answer. Imagine the AI is like a child. You need to give it exact instructions. So, a little bit humorous, but also really true. I want to show you the following video.
Okay. And let's see if we can make this peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So, I have our instructions. Step one, take piece of bread. Bread. Put bread on plate. I don't have a plate. Plate. Put bread on plate.
You're supposed to put it on right.
Bread is on plate. Take a spoon of jelly. Spoon of jelly. Put peanut butter on bread. Okay.
Oh my god. Oh
Give me
no,
the-
I
throw me
mixed
the-
it up.
Peanut butter. Put peanut butter on bread.
Okay, so you get the point. Essentially, the idea is that if the instructions are not exact and correct, whoever needs to follow the instructions, right, will not be able to do it right. That's exactly the case, right? You have to give the Chat GPT or your AI tool exact instructions what you want it to do. So let's just dive into what we call prompt engineering or the art of talking to computers. What is prompt engineering? It's essentially the skill of crafting effective instructions called prompts to get the best results out of the AI system. Why does it matter? You're having a conversation with a very smart assistant, but you have to ask the right questions, otherwise, the assistant will not be able to do the job right and you will not be happy. So, for example, if you say, write something about dogs, that's a very general and broad based instructions. Write something about dog. They can write anything. Or you can say, write a friendly blog post for beginners about top 5 benefits of having a dog as a pet. Very specific instructions, what they're supposed to produce, how they're supposed to write it, who's the target audience, and so on and so forth. So that's essentially is the right way to write the prompts for AI. Here's the best framework that I like. I use it every day. It's called Peace. The purpose, what do I want the AI system to do? Write, generate, solve an equation, create a picture, compose a music, so on and so forth. Then explain, give context or background. Who is it for? What is it about? Right? That is not an exact science. The more details you provide, the better results you're going to get out of it. The next one is A, which is the action format. What format do you want to get the output in? You want a table? You want an email? You want a blog article? You want it to improve the line of your email subject? What is it you're looking for? The constraints, limits or guidelines, right? For example, if you're asking ChatGPT to create a social media post for Facebook, or you can ask it to create a social media post for Twitter, ChatGPT knows that Twitter has character limits. It's going to limit the output to that. Okay. Last is the example. It really helps to give an example of what a good looks like or what not a good looks like. So you can say things like, can you create me a poem about unicorns and robots, but write it for 6-year-old girl? Then you can say, do not make it scary. So that's the idea. Let's jump right into it. Now, what I want you to do is make sure that your laptops are all ready. You have a browser tab open so you can go to ChatGPT is the tool that we're going to use today. So on the homepage, you can all see my screen. You go to chatgpt.com and you're going to see a screen something like this. If you already have an account, then you can just log in. And if you don't have an account, then you could just create an account and we'll wait for you to create an account. It's actually very simple. We'll sign up for free. Then you can just enter your email address and press continue. And on the next screen, it'll ask you for a password. Now, the email that you used here, you'll receive a code. You can just actually copy and paste the code in the next screen. Then it'll ask you for your first name and last name and phone number if they ask for phone number. Yes, the Peterborough sandwich instructions are very popular and they're very common in schools as they try to teach people computer programming, actually. So, what I'm going to do for those who have already logged into your ChatGPT account, I'm going to share a handout in the chat, which you can download. So essentially, there's one thing that I would like you to do. It is optional, but I highly recommend you do it, especially if you're planning to have a paid subscription of ChatGPT or even not, right? Even if you have you're planning to use the free version of it, I highly recommend you do this following one. So in the last step here, right, by default, ChatGPT, whatever questions or prompts you type in it and whatever result it produces, ChatGPT remembers that inside its master database and uses your prompts, your answers to train its global model. Then it's available for everybody. But If you are going to ask ChatGPT a lot of personal questions, if you're going to enter your legal contract, if you are going to upload your sales spreadsheet, if you are planning to share your personal information, there's a feature inside ChatGPT that you can tell ChatGPT not to use your data to train the global model. Don't share your data with the world. Keep it private. How you do that? So once you've logged into your ChatGPT account, if you have a free version, you have an icon for your profile on the upper right-hand side. And if you have a paid version, you're going to have a profile icon on your lower left-hand side, and it says settings. When you go in there, you're going to see your settings menu, and it's going to have a bunch of settings here, general and notifications. I want you to click on data controls. And inside the data controls, you're going to see the first option, improve the model for everyone. I want you to turn it off. Next thing that I want you to do is open up a new tab on your browser. And I want you to type this URL, marketing-qa.com/AI workshop files. And the password is MKT123 at pass. When you log into the website, you're going to see files that are part of this AI workshop. So if you just click on those files, they'll just download into your download folder. These are the files that you're going to need when we do these exercises in ChatGPT. There's a sales lead file, and that's the .csv file, and then the XLS file. These both are exactly the same file, just different format, whichever you prefer. Then the fourth file is a promissory note with the installment payments. It's a sample legal document. We're going to use that to ask ChatGPT a lot of questions about the contract. Okay, so here's some examples of the prompts that we can use. You remember the piece model, the purpose, right? And explain, action, constraints, and examples. Okay, so here's one prompt that I created. It essentially says that I want you to act as my resume coach. Your task is to improve my bullet points of my resume for clarity and impact. Please rewrite each one using strong action words, verbs, and make them results focused. Here's another idea. If you are in the market looking for a job, okay, you can upload your resume and a one particular job description that you're interested in applying for, and then type this. So you'll be uploading two documents into ChatGPT. There's a limit to how many documents you can upload in the free version or how many times you can upload it, but in the paid version, you don't have any limits. And I believe the paid version is $20 a month. And then you can use this prompt. You are my job coach. Based on my resume and job description attached, can you write a one-page cover letter which addressed to the hiring manager and the letter with how the hiring manager can contact me? The next one is my father is a South Asian male and 67 years old. He's diabetic. His last A1C was 8 and average heart rate, yada, yada, yada. He's retired. What foods should be absolutely avoid eating? Can you create a workout plan? I want you to go back to the piece model. The detail is how ChatGPT really gives you the right answer. But the idea is to kind of really familiarize yourself how to write a prompt. You will notice the longer the prompt is, the more information you provide ChatGPT, the better results you get. Now remember, ChatGPT is not a human. It's creating these things, the results, the answers, by statistical probability. It's really that dumb, right? It's just a really fast math machine. So, why do I say this? Is that you can never, never, ever simply type in your prompt, make the prompt really great, get the answer, copy the answer, and paste it and use it for your business, your work, your emails, your school assignments. Never, ever. Because you don't know where the hallucination was. You don't know where the mistake was. You don't know what links for references it used, didn't use, the facts that it provided. You don't know any of that stuff until you verify it. So Humans are still superior human beings, and that will never going to go away. So you can use the chat GPT to give you some ideas, right? If you have a writer's block, if you're having some really huge problems with your creativity, you can ask it, right, to give some ideas. It's really great for that. But then you should bring in the human touch to that. So one thing to keep in mind is that ChatGPT uses the data that's available publicly on the internet. So the ChatGPT results are always based on the data that's 6 months old. So you have to keep that in mind, right? It may not have the current affairs. Okay, I don't know the answer to this, but let's find out. Hey, ChatGPT, when was the last time your LLM data refreshed? There you go. My training data goes up to June 2024. So it's really a little over a year old. Okay. So I prove my point. We have to take the output of ChatGPT with a grain of salt, unless you want to train your own language model, or when you ask a prompt or when you create a prompt, you provide your own input data, like we will do later on in these exercises. That's why I had you download the sales leads database. So I'm going to upload my sales data. I've now uploaded the file. So I can say, using the sales data uploaded, can you tell me how many leads do I have in my list? So it shows me the file that it was uploaded. Then it is now going to try to answer my questions. So it says you have 73 leads in the file. There are 70 unique leads. Now, ChatGPT is smart enough to tell me that you have duplicate leads in your system, right? Now, if I'm a sales manager, I know how good my sales data is now. Let's ask it another question, right? It already has the file in my system, right? Let's say, how many leads have status need to call and how many need to email? It already has a context of my conversation, right? So that's why I mean that you're actually having a conversation with the chat GPT, right? Because you don't have to upload the file every question. Need to call 19 and need to email 13. I'm just going to do one more so you really understand the power of chat GPT here, okay? Out of the 19 leads that are need to call, how many have bad phone numbers? Okay, so 3 of the 19 need to call leads have bad phone numbers. To show you one more, you can upload your contract. So here's a promissory note with installment payments. I'm going to upload this document and I'm going to ask the ChatGPT, in the agreement uploaded, can you tell me, do I have any prepayment penalties? I can ask it a lot of complex questions. No, there are no prepayment penalty. Okay, so it actually tells me that that is. Now, I'm just going to show one more question. It says, what happens to my interest rate if I don't pay off the loan by the due date? And it's going to read the document, it's going to analyze it, and it is going to answer the question for me. From 8% to 12% annually if you don't pay off your loan on time. You can actually ask ChatGPT to visualize your data as well. You can actually take your sales spreadsheet and ask it to provide a sales management summary report. And it'll create you a 3 or 4 page report, all with graphs and diagrams and recommendations. Now the fun part begins. I mentioned that the generative AI can do a lot of things, right? So here's some examples on video. So there's a bunch of tools that you can use to generate video. You can just actually provide it instructions and it'll create the video for you. Before we do that, I wanted to show you what's possible with multiple channels. You can take video and audio and calculations and analysis and speech to text, and text integration to your calendar and notifications. It can actually do all of that for you. So here's an example that I'd like to share.
As I said earlier, our vision for our assistant is to help you get things done. It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call. You may want to get an oil change schedule, maybe call a plumber in the middle of the week, or even schedule a haircut appointment. We think AI can help with this problem. So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have a 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
So what you saw was the beginning example with what we call the agents or the agentic AI. You can have an agent who is expert at making the phone call. Then you have an agent who is really great at speaking and having a conversation. Then you can have an agent that knows how to connect to your calendar. And then the agentic AI really is the art of putting all of that together and delivering a solution, which you just saw in that video. The next one is the text to video, one of my favorites. So here you have a tool, it's called Sora. It's by ChatGPT, and it can really allow you to create a video clip, or if you have a paid version, it can do a full-length video for you. Okay, so what I asked it to do, my prompt was to create a video of a blonde woman in her 30s, right, in a smart business suit is walking out of a conference room. And that's what it created for me in about a minute and a half. Then I modified that prompt and I asked it to change it to a red suit. Oh, and here was the one that I created. And it says a Muslim woman in a modest clothes walking towards a mosque in an evening time. Let's say if I want to say a Muslim woman in modest clothes walking towards a mosque in the morning hours. Okay, so while this is happening, I want to switch gears and talk about music. And here's a prompt that I had just created. It says, I want you to create a meditative, devotional mood sitar melody over soft tabla. I can give it a lot of instructions, and I want the clip to be 10 seconds long, and I only want one track. I don't want multiple tracks. I want no vocals. Here's what it generated for me. Here's my first video that it generated, and here's my second video. And this one, she's working towards it. The final one that I want to play for you is a presentation. It's a tool called Synthesia. And what I did for this tool is I took my real research project from the university and I uploaded it. Then I selected a persona, and I essentially had the persona then use my script that I wanted to record and record this script for me. I'm not going to play the whole thing, obviously, because it's long. Here's what it looks like.
Earth's temperature has risen by 1.3 degrees Celsius over the last century, with another 0.5 degrees Celsius increase expected soon. This rise is making parts of the world uninhabitable, affecting health, food security, and economies. Immediate attention is needed to address the climate migration crisis. Managing climate refugees is costly and disruptive, often handled with short-term thinking.
Okay. So you see how powerful this is, right? What's next? So I know that we have some members in the medical community, and so here's the one that I really like. It's very popular. It's called OpenEvidence, small language model. The one that we have been seeing so far are large language models. They're trained on the world's internet data. Small language models are specialized databases. They're only trained for one industry, one purpose, and so on and so forth. So this particular one has been trained on the world's medical journals only. AI agent, it's a co-pilot for doctors. You can register a free account or you can have a paid if you're a doctor, and you can ask it very specific questions about health. There are some other applications that you can use. You can actually write your own AI, or you can use lots of tools out there that can actually automate the stock trading strategies. You can write a complete book, actually, including pictures and cover art. You can have them write poems for you, write entire movie scripts, create entire legal documents, and you can do some data analysis and insights as well. So there's a ton of applications hands-on. I hope you guys will find time to play around with it. Let's take the workshop handout. I can upload this document and I can say, using the PDF I uploaded, can you create a PowerPoint slide deck for me? Let's see what it does. In the next example, I will show you, can you give me Dow Jones returns for the last 5 years in the year over year format? Okay, so before I press enter, you notice that based on my Word document or the PDF document, it actually created a slide deck for me. And it then says, okay, now download the PowerPoint slide deck. It's going to download the PowerPoint slide deck for me. I'm going to go ahead and open it. And here's the slide deck that it just created for me. If you were to upload not only the PDF of your content, but your company's style guide document, it'll actually design the PowerPoint slide deck for you. Can you give me Dow Jones returns for the last 5 years in the year over year format? There you go. Now I say, can you give me the output in Microsoft Excel format? Okay, so here's the Excel file. Okay, so here's the spreadsheet that it created for you. I run a travel agency and I post blog articles and social media posts. Can you create a blog article about tips and tricks, do's and don'ts for traveling to Mexico in the summertime? Please also create one social media post for Facebook and one for Twitter to help me promote this article. All right, there you go. And so then here's a Facebook post, and then here's a Twitter post. If you notice that in the Twitter, it knows that it's less than 280 characters. So ChatGPT is real time. If you use ChatGPT long enough, you will notice that sometimes it actually produces two alternative output and it wants you to select one versus the other. So that's one way that asks for feedback. Another one, if you noticed in the all the outputs, you have the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Then you have an agent who is really great at speaking and having a conversation. If I sometimes do the thumbs down, I don't want to do this here because it has the right data in it. But if you were to click the thumbs down, it will actually ask you reasons why you're rejecting this answer. And you can also type your own comment as well and give it feedback. So that's the second way of doing that. The third way that you can do that as well is that you can improve your prompt. So you can actually argue with ChatGPT and say, no, I think your last result was wrong. This is the one. And ChatGPT will confirm it and then correct its answer. So you can actually have a conversation with it as well. AI is not going to replace humans.
Akbar, can I put in a poem or a song and ask AI to mix it up and give me a new song?
You can try. I've not done that yet, but you can certainly try.
And the other thing was plagiarism.
Yes.
Can AI pick out what parts are plagiarized in an article?
Yes. I don't know if the commercial version have it. I know that the commercial version actually allows you to have the references of where it got the information from. So it provides you links to the article that it has referenced. But because I teach at a university, we have tools available to professors so that if a student actually submits a paper, we have tools available to us that can tell us that what percentage of the paper was written by AI. If you want to get hold of me, please scan this QR code and you can connect with me on LinkedIn and send me messages on LinkedIn as well. Thank you so much, everybody.